The Tatva Intimacy Compatibility of Nakshatras, Dhanishta Nakshatra. Dhanishta Nakshatra is an ether Tatva Nakshatra ruled by Mars, with the Vasis, deities of abundance and cosmic rhythm, as its presiding forces. When Venus is placed in Dhanishta, intimacy becomes rhythmic, expansive, and energetic, yet spiritual. This Venus placement craves a partner who appreciates beauty through movement, sound, freedom, and soul-level connection. As an ether tattva nakshatra, Dhanishta has the rare ability to harmonize with all other elements, making it one of the most universally adaptive placements in terms of intimacy compatibility. With earth tattva nakshatras Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, and Mrigashira, Venus in Dhanishta enjoys physical compatibility and sensual grounding. Earth offers consistency and structure, which allows Dhanishta's expansive energy to settle into embodied affection. These unions often feature physical closeness, shared values around loyalty, and dependable love. Venus here feels supported in manifesting creative intimacy that is both reliable and elevated. The only friction arises if Earth becomes too rigid or routine-driven, limiting Dhanishta's rhythmic or artistic flow. With water tattva nakshatras Pushya, Punarvasu, Ashlesha, Magha, and Purva Falguni, Venus in Dhanishta experiences emotional richness and intuitive bonding. Water nourishes ether without overwhelming it. These pairings allow Venus to explore deeper layers of emotional sensitivity, empathy, and spiritual fusion. Intimacy becomes a subtle, rhythmic dance of emotion and surrender. These relationships often carry a karmic flavor, built on inner emotional resonance. However, Dhanishta must be mindful not to become emotionally avoidant if the water partner seeks too much emotional enmeshment. With air tattva nakshatras, Jyeshtha, Mula, Purva Ashada, Uttara Ashada, and Shravana, Venus in Dhanishta finds stimulating mental flow, curiosity, and intellectual openness. These combinations create lively, communicative relationships where intimacy is mentally engaging and emotionally light. Ether supports air in rising beyond attachments, so these relationships often emphasize freedom, ideals, and creative exchange. If emotional depth is lacking, Venus in Dhanishta may eventually feel unfulfilled unless water or earth energies balance the equation. Fire tattva nakshatras, Chitra, Swati, Vishaka, Anuradha, and Uttara Falguni energize Venus in Dhanishta with passion, motivation, and expressive boldness. Fire and ether create powerful, transformative intimacy marked by action, devotion, and spiritual direction. These unions often involve artistic synergy or shared missions. However, Dhanishta's subtle emotional needs may get overlooked if fire becomes too self-centered or overly intense. Balance is maintained when fire respects ether's expansive nature and avoids over-defining the relationship. With other ether tattva nakshatras, Shatabisha, Revati, Purvabhadrapada, and Uttarabhadrapada, Venus in Dhanishta finds deep karmic connections, inner harmony, and subtle emotional attunement. These pairings often transcend ego or physical form. Intimacy becomes less about desire and more about sacred union, rooted in service, creativity, or shared spiritual growth. There's usually a sense of destiny or intuitive understanding in such unions, and physical connection is guided by a higher emotional vibration. Because ether naturally integrates all tattvas, Venus in Dhanishta does not face elemental incompatibility the way other placements do. However, challenges arise when one partner is too heavy in a particular element without emotional flexibility. For example, too much earth may suppress Dhanishta's spontaneity, too much water may drain its energy, too much fire may provoke ego clashes, and too much air may intellectualize the emotional bond. Venus in Dhanishta flourishes in relationships that honor rhythm, soul resonance, and inner freedom. Ether allows for deep adaptability, creating ease with Earth's sensuality, water's emotionality, air's curiosity, and fire's passion. Its most resonant connections often occur with other ether or water nakshatras, where spiritual love and emotional subtlety are honored. For intimacy to remain fulfilling, Venus in Dhanishta needs sacred space, emotional flow, and the freedom to harmonize affection through both music and silence. The Tatva Intimacy Compatibility of Nakshatras, Mrigashira Nakshatra. Mrigashira Nakshatra, an Earth Tattva Nakshatra ruled by Mars, carries a unique blend of curiosity, sensuality, and subtle emotional exploration. Symbolized by the deer's head and linked to Soma, the moon god, it expresses intimacy through a blend of innocence, pursuit, and desire for mental and physical stimulation. When Venus is placed in Mrigashira, it lends a flirtatious, exploratory tone to relationships. Intimacy is approached with a desire to both experience and understand. However, as an Earth Tattva Nakshatra, it still seeks security and grounded sensuality beneath its light-footed expression. With water Tattva Nakshatras such as Pushya, Ashlesha, Magha, and Purva Falguni, Venus in Mrigashira finds a compatible emotional rhythm. Water's emotional depth nurtures the sensual inquisitiveness of Mrigashira, allowing intimacy to flow gently and receptively. These relationships balance exploration with emotional safety, giving Mrigashira the confidence to reveal its vulnerability and deepen trust. The Earth-Water pairing supports long-term closeness and sensual connectivity, especially when both partners can attune to each other's moods. Air Tattva Nakshatras, Mula, Jeshta, Shravana, Purva Ashada, and Uttara Ashada pose challenges for intimacy. Air emphasizes mental detachment and freedom, which can unsettle the earthy sensuality of Mrigashira. Venus here may initiate intimacy playfully, but may feel emotionally disconnected or unfulfilled with air nakshatra partners. While there can be strong verbal rapport or shared curiosity, emotional grounding, and sensual presence, core needs for Mrigashira often feel neglected. This leads to a cycle of attraction followed by withdrawal or uncertainty. Fire Tattva Nakshatras like Chitra, Swati, Vishaka, Anuradha, and Uttara Falguni bring excitement and dynamic chemistry, but not always emotional consistency. Mrigashira's Venus appreciates the passion and stimulation, but can quickly feel overwhelmed by fire's intensity or need for dominance. Fire may push for fast-paced intimacy, while Mrigashira prefers gradual emotional unfolding. Over time, the lack of rhythm in desire and emotional sensitivity may create confusion or anxiety in relationships, unless mitigated by softening planetary influences. Pairings with other Earth Tattva Nakshatras, Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, and Rohini, support physical compatibility and sensual alignment. Venus in Mrigashira, when matched with another Earth partner, experiences tactile harmony, shared values around loyalty, and a mutual desire for routine closeness. The stability of such relationships fosters trust and predictable affection. However, both partners may struggle to innovate emotionally or risk falling into predictable patterns unless other chart placements introduce contrast or flexibility. Ether Tattva Nakshatras, Revati, Shatabisha, Dhanishta, Uttara Bhadrapada, and Purva Bhadrapada offer spiritual complementarity and karmic evolution. Ether works well with all tattvas, so Mrigashira's sensual curiosity and Venusian love of beauty find a spiritualized, expansive expression. These pairings often involve emotional elevation and sexual subtlety. Intimacy becomes a bridge between physical exploration and emotional transcendence, ideal for individuals with a spiritual or artistic orientation. Among all, air nakshatra partners prove least conducive to intimacy for Venus in Mrigashira. The inconsistency, intellectualization of emotion, and need for space contrasts with Mrigashira's craving for closeness, play, and sensual reassurance. These mismatches often manifest as a cycle of pursuit and evasion, where Mrigashira initiates connection but ends up feeling emotionally stranded or rejected. Over time, this leads to frustration or emotional detachment, particularly in romantic or sexual relationships. For harmonious intimacy, Venus in Mrigashira finds optimal resonance with water Tattva Nakshatras, which offer softness, receptivity, and emotional anchoring. Earth Tattvas provide sensual familiarity and consistency, while Ether introduces transformative or spiritual dimensions. Fire brings temporary excitement but risks burnout, and air lacks the sensual or emotional depth needed to fully satisfy Mrigashira's Venus. Thus, elemental compatibility here becomes key to sustaining intimacy that is both playful and emotionally nourishing. The Tatva Intimacy Compatibility of Nakshatras, Chitra Nakshatra. Chitra Nakshatra is a fire Tattva, Nakshatra ruled by Mars, with Vishvakarma, the celestial architect, as its presiding deity. Venus placed in Chitra expresses intimacy through aesthetic magnetism, passion, physical beauty, and energetic assertion. Chitra is inherently charismatic, craving both admiration and conquest in love. When Venus resides here, intimacy is bold, creatively charged, and designed to captivate. However, as a fire Tattva Nakshatra, its compatibility hinges on how its expressive intensity interacts with the elemental foundation of a partner's Nakshatra. With Earth Tattva Nakshatras, Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, and Mrigashira, Venus in Chitra finds firm footing for its fiery desires. Earth provides sensuality, loyalty, and the kind of grounded responsiveness that allows Chitra to express its intimacy in consistent and fulfilling ways. These pairings often create relationships that combine physical passion with a strong foundation. The only friction arises when Earth becomes too slow or routine-bound for Chitra's need for visual and emotional stimulation. Still, Earth provides long-term stability to temper fire's volatility. Water Tattva Nakshatras, Pushya, Punarvasu, Ashlesha, Magha, and Purva Falguni tend to emotionally overwhelm or resist Chitra's direct expression. Water may interpret fire's intensity as domineering or insensitive, while Venus in Chitra may find water too emotionally layered or passive. These pairings often struggle to synchronize emotional rhythm and desire patterns. Intimacy may begin with fascination, but evolve into frustration unless there is conscious emotional negotiation or compensating planetary placements, such as benefic Jupiter or a strong fourth house. With other fire tattvas, Hasta, Swati, Vishaka, Anuradha, and Uttara Falguni, Venus in Chitra experiences high energy, sexual dynamism, and mutual drive. These combinations often result in intense chemistry, mutual admiration, and high-velocity intimacy. Both partners want attention, expression, and passion. However, without grounding energies, these unions can burn out quickly or become competitive. Intimacy might become a display of ego or power if emotional bonding is not consciously developed. Air Tattva Nakshatras, Mula, Jeshta, Uttara Ashada, and Shravana blend well with Chitra's Venus due to the cooperative nature of fire and air. These relationships are often full of curiosity, movement, and intellectual flirtation. Air stokes Chitra's fire, offering freshness and freedom. Intimacy in such unions is mentally stimulating and creatively expressive, but can lack depth if there's no earth or water support to anchor emotional bonding. Venus in Chitra may enjoy the chase, but struggle with sustaining closeness if emotional needs remain unmet. Pairings with ether tattva nakshatras, Ravati, Shatabisha, Dhanishta, Purva Bhadrapada, and Uttara Bhadrapada elevate Chitra's passionate Venus into spiritual and artistic realms. Ether tempers fire by giving it higher purpose, creative vision, or intuitive understanding. These connections are often karmic, where physical attraction transforms into soul growth or mutual purpose. Chitra's need to be seen and admired can be softened in ether pairings, where love becomes less about ego and more about connection to something eternal. The most problematic pairings for Venus and Chitra occur with water nakshatras. Water's emotional depth and caution may resist fire's assertive affection or misread it as invasive. Chitra's need for passion and engagement may clash with water's need for emotional security, leading to cycles of emotional shutdowns or control dynamics. These unions demand maturity and a willingness to bridge expression styles. Venus in Chitra thrives best with air nakshatras that stimulate its mind and match its energy, earth nakshatras that steady its passion, and ether nakshatras that spiritualize its creative romanticism. Fire nakshatras provide high compatibility in expression, but need balance to avoid burnout. Water, while rich in emotional value, often challenges Chitra's pace and style of intimacy, making elemental harmony essential for long-term romantic cohesion.